Why, hello there, everybody. I'm Chris Velasquez, your host, and we're going to do my very first C# video today. The topic is going to be C# Linq to JavaScript ES6 methods. Now, what is the point of this video? Well, if you're like me, you've been a C# programmer for a long time. You've used Linq methods, and Linq methods, as you know, are very, very powerful, and we're able to do all kinds of things with Linq methods. However, if you want to be a full stack developer, you're going to need to know JavaScript too. You're probably going to be using some sort of framework like Angular or Vue.js or React.js with Redux, and you're going to need to be able to deal with arrays or enumerable collections of objects. And what I'd like to do is be able to show to you how you can use any method in Linq. There's a JavaScript equivalent for that. And so that's what I'm going to go through. I've divided this lecture into 5 parts. Part 1 is the overview, aims, and goals, as you can see from the graphic up there. Part 2 is going to be the easy bits, how to do single element selection. And I'm also going to introduce you to filtering, which you probably already know how to do. It's kind of like the way you use where clauses in Linq. And I'll show you how to do those in JavaScript. Part 3 is going to be aggregate methods. Now, when you think of aggregate methods, I typically think of SQL methods like average, count, min, max, so forth, even statistical methods. And it turns out you can use aggregate methods to be able to enumerate queries, be able to get results out of the entire contents of some sort of enumeration. And that's what the aggregate methods are all about. Transformation methods are a way of being able to transform one set of enumerables, or in this case, in JavaScript, arrays. And so it transforms one list into another list, basically. However, it's one of the things is that you don't want to just transform the list. You want to create a brand new list. Kind of like the way whenever you use Linq, the IEnumerable that you get out of the query, for us, the select operator, which would transform from one set of objects to another set of objects, will give you a different set of objects. And I should go into this with more detail. And the 5th and final section I'm going to go to is Venn diagrams. You all remember that from high school? You have the intersecting circles. Well, it turns out that Linq has many Venn diagram type methods. And I'm also going to talk about join methods. That's where you take 2 sets or 2 collections and you combine them to form a 3rd collection. And I'll show you how to do that. One of the main important points that I want to discuss is that you want to always create a new array in JavaScript. Now, several of the frameworks, such as Redux, which do state management, require that when you're changing the state, you just don't tweak like one property or one variable inside of an object and expect it to work. No, you have to actually create a brand new set of objects, and that new set has to be distinct from the old set of objects in order to be able to trigger the state to make the user interface changes that you want, let's say in React. So I'm going to show you how to be able to do that first in C# and also how to do that in JavaScript. Now I'm going to be using ES6. Not all browsers support ES6. Google Chrome has a very good implementation, so I'm going to be using Google Chrome to do all of my examples. I tried in Firefox, and Firefox has kind of a dodgy implementation in ES6. Of course, you could always use something like Babel in order to transpile from ES6 down to ES5 for browsers, but all the examples I'm going to show are ES6 because those have the best functionality, and Although there are some ways you can use ES5, they're not as convenient or as intuitive as ES6. I'm going to be using 3 tools during this video. As you can see here on the right, I have an HTML page here, and on the left, I've got Visual Studio Code. And when I'm writing C#, I'm going to be using a third tool called LinkPad. Now, if you don't know about LinkPad, here's a good picture of it. LinkPad is a free or paid version of a program which allows you to be able to write C# code rather quickly without all the bloat and overhead you get with Visual Studio proper. However, it has all the functionality built in. You can include libraries. You can do pretty much anything you can. And it is very good for making short C# programs and snippets. And it's also good for testing code too. I highly recommend you get a copy of LinkPad. It's LinkPad's up below. This is version 5, which works well with the framework, 4.6 and higher. If you're going to be using .NET Core, you're going to want to get LinkPad 6 instead because that supports all the core features. But however, since I'm only going to be talking about C# in a general way, I don't really need to go to .NET Core here. So I'm going to stick with C# for all of my examples. So I hope you enjoy this series. This is my first time doing this. So if you got any comments, questions, or especially you got some corrections or insults or critiques, just leave them in the comments below. And we're going to get started with this right away. And I'll see you in the next video. Cut.